4 o'clock this morning. So
I got up early today too, man. I gotta actually lower the voice here because it's still 7 a.m. on a Sunday, so I gotta make sure that I keep it down. I got kids sleeping. Um, Today we're gonna cover a topic. And I forgot, Joe. I could have went back, but we forgot the topic. I should have went back to last week's video at the end because we
yeah,
discussed it there. Maybe I'll do that next week. We're
yeah,
gonna discuss some topics today because we wanted to discuss these topics anyways. But we're gonna talk about basically chemicals, and then we're gonna get into some orgs and clubs and some differences. Joe and I are gonna share you some thoughts about our own experiences with orgs from even like 20 years ago, and kind of tell you guys a little bit of the differences about those. But Joe, let's get your take on chemicals. I'm not positive we agree on all the things about chemicals. I think that we know one. Let's not use the word chemicals in front of
right.
a customer, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And if you
What?
do, you need to know what you're talking about when you're talking about chemicals. What ingredients are in there, what they're safe to use around. The main thing, my take on chemicals is there are a lot of chemicals on the market. If you're in our industry, there are 100 different chemicals do 100 different processes. Some are better than others, but a lot of times my problem with the chemicals is a lot of them are the same exact thing from one brand to the other. So then it comes down to not what chemical you like better than another. Once you get chemicals that do similar things, it's what vendor you like more than the other one. Does that make any sense to you, Ron?
Um, with some of them, yeah. With some of the, you know, when you're talking about a lot of the degreasers, and you're even talking about the particular surfactants that we use and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, especially these guys in house washing. You know, here's a question I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use surfactants when you're spraying bleach?
Yes and no. I do use a surfactant, but to me, and this is just my opinion, and I know I'm going to get beat up over this, the surfactant I use, all honesty, is the cheapest scented laundry detergent I can find.
Mhm.
Surfactant to me, and this is just my opinion, guys, so don't send me a bunch of hate mail and stuff, has two jobs: to help it stick better and to make it smell better. And so far, I have not seen where that cheap laundry detergent does not do both them things instead of spending $40 or $50. Now, I understand there are surfactants out there that buy, if you mix them like you're supposed to, cost even less than laundry detergent.
Mhm.
But I'm old school. I've been doing this since 1993. That's what I've always used, and I don't see no reason to switch it up at this point.
Oh no, and there's a lot of guys that do use laundry detergent, but you know when you're talking about it, and I think that where these things got confused is a lot of guys started using the surfactants when the roof cleaning craze came on,
Yep.
15 years ago, and guys didn't want the runoff, so they would use the
Right.
surfactant to have the bleach stick on the roof, so it didn't get so less would get onto the plants during the
I'll,
process.
I'll stop you right there and tell you a funny story about surfactants years ago. It's probably been right at 50, I don't know how many, it's been quite a few years. I was working for another company and we were doing roof cleaning. Up until that point, we had always used, pressure. We didn't know the other ways, the proper ways that we do it now. But the owner of the company turned around and took and bought some roof snot. And I'll never forget it. He gave us this gallon of roof snot. He says, I want y'all to try this out on the roof and let me know how it works. So we said, okay. We took the roof snot and just put roof snot on the roof and tried to figure out why it wasn't cleaning. It wasn't doing nothing. We didn't realize it was a surfactant. We thought he was saying it was a cleaner that was supposed to clean the roof magically. And like we went back to him at the end of the day, man, this stuff ain't worth a damn. It ain't doing nothing.
Right.
And we done used a whole gallon on the roof and accomplished nothing with it, but we didn't know. I mean, everybody talks junk about like roof cleaning and chemicals. 15, 20 years ago, nobody knew what soft washing a roof was.
Right. Right. Well, what I was going to say is that I think the guys, you know, incorporated when incorporated the surfactants into the house wash mix after
Mhm.
the fact of the roof cleaning, and I don't think that guys realize this. There's two things when they're using, and there's these guys are going to learn a little bit about sodium hypochlorite. One, when you use the sodium hypochlorite, there's a degree failure if one, you don't have a compatible surfactant.
Mm-hmm.
Two, a surfactant is going to keep the bleach from being oxygenated and working more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've heard lots and lots of house wash guys that are using, veterans that are using sodium hypochlorite. They are recommending no surfactants in the regular wash on the house because
And I've done it with no surfactant, but to me, I just prefer to have a little bit of surfactant in there of some kind. If nothing else, I downstream. I've always used downstream method,
too
and
much
I like to
though,
see it when it comes through the gun.
too much though will cause
Oh
you
yeah, most
more
definitely.
time rinsing. So it's going to cost you more time rinsing. The bleach isn't going to be as effective. So you're going to use more bleach because it's not effective. A lot of guys in this colder weather don't realize that below a certain temperature, the bleach loses. It's going to lose its deal. People don't realize we deal with that in Arizona at 92 degrees. It's gone. It don't work. And a lot of guys don't understand this. Even you guys in the South, if you wet the roofs before you go ahead and spray, you cool the roof down, and then the bleach is going to work better on a cooler substrate than
Mm-hmm.
a substrate that's hotter. So I want to teach these guys some stuff here, Joe,
Right.
because a lot of guys don't know these fundamental things about chemicals. Because here we go again. You know, you go back to grandma or mom washing the dishes, right? It is definitely going to wash a dish better with Dawn dish soap in warmer water. Not necessarily steaming hot water, but the right temperature.
Now
The
I do
Dawn,
want to stop right there and say something low
okay?
on the Dawn dish soap because you just brought that up. That is something that is a pet peeve of mine, guy. Dawn dish soap is not compatible with bleach. It just plainly tells you, granted, we've all done it at some point or another. I'm sure I have. But if you read the label and you do your research on it, it is not compatible. You get it in an enclosed area. It can cause a gas that can be dangerous to you and to the homeowner or to the tenants of that property. So do not mix Dawn. Yeah, I don't care what you use as surfactant. Dawn is not a surfactant.
But getting back to what I was saying is that
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
if you use warm water, it's going to clean more effective and more efficiently. And yeah, you can use cold water. It's just not going to get it. It's just not going to get as clean. Do you know the temperature that bleach fails in cold weather? Do you know what the temperature is?
Years ago I did. I know I won't wash in cold weather below 40 degrees. Now there's people that do it, but normally if it gets below 40, I'm not wasting my time
Yeah, yeah.
because it's just too hard to get the bleach to activate.
Yeah, and here in Arizona, man, it's a real thing about chemicals not working. We can fry an egg on the sidewalk here. so so you can get chemicals on the sidewalk here, and that's why it behoves me to understand that people don't get this. The number one cleaning solvent is water, and
Mhm.
so many people do not pre-treat the substrates with water, simple H2O. And it's also a disaster when guys ask me sometimes when they're removing a rust or oil stain. I always tell them, well, just try some hot water first and clean it, and then see where you're at.
What you got
And
left over afterwards.
the reason for this is the number one reason is that guys don't understand, and this is where I'll tell you how dangerous. When you're talking about the Dawn dish soap and it potentially in an enclosed area, I always tell guys that if they're in a bathroom and they're doing an interior job and it's a very confined, small area, don't go in there spraying chemicals because these restaurant people use a host of chemicals that they never rinse away that are left on the floor. And if you don't pre-clean that floor first before you go in there and start spraying chemicals, we've got it's serious. People have died in those
Mixing
bathrooms.
chemicals like that and
They,
you don't know what's there.
they've found out, and people go, well, I'm just going to spray my chems. I go, it doesn't matter what you spray. There are existing chemicals. We do not know what they are. They're on that floor. And when you go to mix the solutions in there. It's just like you've made a cocktail in a chemistry lab, and the next thing you know, you got mustard gas in there. And I don't think people realize that the National Restaurant Association standards are they use a lot of acids and ammonia. And you go spraying bleach inside of a bathroom where they've used ammonia and acid on the floor, you're gonna have a problem on your hands.
100%. 100%. I mean, it's just like even talking about chemicals, acid, muriatic acid. I've used that twice, and I refuse to use it. Or, well, let me rephrase that. I refuse to let my employees use it because it is such a dangerous chemical. I have used it twice, and you could be standing downwind from that, way downwind, and burn your lungs out with it if you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing about like when these guys do use these chemicals. I tell guys if you're going to use hydrofluoric, go get some real training. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had people that I've known in this industry, and people don't realize this. Lose eyesight. They've had skin grafts from where they've gotten chemical burned and had to have third-degree burns and wind up at the burn unit. We've had
Guy I used to work for, his eyes were solid red because of acid.
Mhm.
Because he years ago when he was a kid working in the industry with his dad, he actually had acid get in his eyes, and anytime he got stopped by the law, they automatically gave him a sobriety check because his eyes looked like he was drunk off his ass. But it's
Right.
where he burned them years ago.
Yeah.
And John Seiko said here, he was talking about the situation where a few guys died last year in Florida on a well-known restaurant for mixing the wrong chems, and I remember that, seeing it online. I don't remember all the details of it, but John's 100% right. It was just last year, I believe, in Florida that happened.
Yep. There was, I think one of them passed away. But I also know two personal guys that have passed away from hydrofluoric incidents. One in a mixing facility, of course, he got hit really bad, and the other one just over time he was using it and then had liver failure.
And something else we talk about on chemicals, Ron. I mean, you've had this conversation 1,000 times. LA Awesome. Now, I use that quite a bit in my business, but that's me using it, me knowing how to cut it down, how to use it, and I love it. As far as a degreaser, to me, it's the best thing they ever invented. But would I turn around and give a bottle of LA Awesome to a untrained employee and say, go treat this grease spot or go do this with it? Because it's a very strong chemical, and if you're not careful how you use it, you can do more damage than you do good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. But getting on to the other thing is like a lot of these known chemicals, and we don't have to mention them. For the most part, you were right, Joe. A lot of them are the same things. You know what I mean? They're
Different color, different branding.
different colors, different concentrates.
Yep.
I think concentrate's a big one. I think that when these guys understand this, and then I kind of laugh and chuckle sometimes when they'll get a surfactant and go, "Oh, I noticed how much better it rinsed." Well, that was a less concentrate. You just paid more for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I go, it made us faster. I said, yeah.
I think with chemicals, the main thing you got to look at is, at least in my situation, first you got to look at price difference. Then you got to look at what goes in behind the scenes. If you have a question on how to treat a chemical, treat a stain with this chemical, can you get the help for it? And I think that makes a big difference when people are choosing chemicals by who they feel comfortable with, because certain companies, you can call them up and say, hey man, I'm trying to treat this type of chemical, this type of stain, and what would I mix your chemical at? Other companies kind of lack on that. And I think that makes a big difference in what chemicals people buy.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Good old Doug said, good morning, Doug.
Yeah, what's up, Doug? Ain't talked to him in a while.
JRC.
Yep.
Well, so what are you thinking? What are you thinking? What's your thoughts on organizations, Joe? What do you think about them?
Now everybody knows me, and I'm opinionated. I'm an asshole. Excuse my French. I shouldn't have said that, but I don't see nothing wrong with organizations. I don't see nothing wrong being involved in a club, because I think you need that networking in your industry, you need to be able to reach out to people. The problem I see with orgs and clubs in our industry is I think a lot of them got started, and we're not going to name no specific one on this. A lot of orgs and clubs got started with the right principle to improve the industry. But over time, it becomes a money situation, and that to me becomes a problem. The other thing is, I think people join so many orgs and clubs for the wrong reasons. You join an org or a club to support your industry. You join it to have that network of people to depend on. You're not going to join an org or a club and triple your profit margins in 6 months. It just don't work that way. So you get out of orgs and clubs what you put into it. Some people like Group A, some people like Group B, some people like Group C. It's okay. Whatever group you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
I don't care either way. I mean, I've been enjoying being a solo person for the last little bit and kind of being friends and enemies with some in each.
The problem with it is that I think people got to get over being offended by them not belonging to their club. I mean, so many people get and I think people out there when let's talk about this. First of all, when you're talking about organizations, and I'll name them. I mean, you got ICA, you got CETA, you got IWCA, you got the PWNA, you got the UNCC. These are industry, not-for-profit, 501c, mutual benefit corporations.
Right, not all of them are not-for-profit that you just named now.
IWCA is.
PWMCA is. No, that is for-profit.
Oh, I didn't mention the PWMCA.
I thought you did say PWMCA.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So,
but it don't matter either way on that.
Well, no, let's talk about that. But that's what I was trying to say. The difference. These are the non-for-profit mutual benefit corporations. These are things where basically, I guess guys don't understand that the members they hold a share,
right.
And they're supposed to be an equal share in the organization, getting equal benefits from the organization. Now, does that always happen? We all know, no, it doesn't always happen. But that's the premise of how a national association is supposed to be set up. But it's like you said, it's really not about an individual person that's going to join an org and make $1 zillion because they joined the org. It's about a camaraderie, supporting the industry that supports you, having somebody that you potentially could turn to if you get a regulatory problem. These orgs are supposed to be able to step in. Now, like CETA, people don't realize this, they fought the clean air thing. Well, I won't say they fought it, but a lot of guys don't know this in California. If you run an oil-fired burner, you have to have a permit for $500 a year, and you have to pay that just in order to be able to run your equipment. And that's a serious thing. And if you don't have that permit, it's a huge fine because we know California is serious about their environmental regulations and things like that. Well, CETA, I don't want to say was fighting it, but they were trying to get, basically they kept it to be not $1,500 or $2,000 a person to be able to run the equipment. Because, obviously when the government gets involved in things, they get into over-regulating stuff. Now,
they screw it up.
Over the last, in your community there, I don't know if you remember this, or you remember the situation in Mecklenburg County.
I know Mecklenburg, that's up towards Charlotte.
Okay. They wanted to start reclaiming house washing. Could you imagine what that would do to you?
Yeah. It would shut 99.9% of the people down.
Well, people wouldn't wash houses. They just do it
and they just can't afford to do it.
Well, no, people would do it themselves because at the point, you're right, at that point they would just do it themselves because we all know the homeowner would be exempt. The homeowner could wash their own house. Yeah. But as a private contractor, you would not be able to be allowed to do that.
And I think there are a lot of orgs out there that do a lot for the industry. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I think we run into with orgs, Ron, that we see is an org starts out with a small amount of people. And let's say you got 20 or 30 people in that group or that club, the org, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's easy to please them 20 or 30 people. But as that org or association or club grows, we start getting up to the 100 people in it. Now you got 100 people you're trying to keep happy. And the honest truth, these guys that run these orgs and associations, and I've been involved with running them, I got all the respect in the world for it, because it is a lot of work to keep everybody happy. It is a shit ton of work, and you're never going to do it. You're always going to have somebody that likes the situation and somebody that hates it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's what those are our national organizations and not-for-profit ones. Now, here's the funny thing is that when we start talking about the other clubs and private organizations that people own, you've got like, I think one of the first private ones was, I would say, would be the PWRA or WCR.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were probably the first ones to attempt a private
Right.
organization. Whether somebody can say they failed or succeeded, I think that they filled a niche at a time
Right.
period 10 years ago when they first started, that they had a lot of material that they could that basically they could help contractors, with postcards, media, things like
Right.
that. One of the things people don't understand, and I'm going to go back to the not-for-profit, organizations. When they're a 501c6 corporation like that, and they're a mutual benefit corporation, they cannot get involved in procurement of contracts at all. They cannot do that. And a lot of people think, oh, the org's going to get me work. They can't do that. It's not. It's illegal for them. If they're involved in something like that, they're going to lose their tax status, because technically it's really all about tax status. Now, what I don't understand is why some of these private clubs have not really grandstanded about attempting to get their members work, because if you've got an organization that can get you work, well, then we go back to, there you go, from the nonprofit that's not going to make you $1 million.
Right.
If a private organization stood on, hey, we're going to try to procure agreements, master service agreements, I mean, guys would probably flock to them to join them, wouldn't they?
Right. I agree 100%. And going back to the not-for-profit, and or the one thing that I will say, and I'm not going to call any org out or anything, because I'm not trying to do that today. The only thing that pisses me off on a not-for-profit or not-for-profits that are claiming that status but are running for profit. And there are orgs, not just in our industry, across industry, in different industries, that are doing that. And that aggravates me. It pisses me off to no end. I don't care. I know the work that goes into running an org. I don't care if somebody makes money off of it. But don't bullshit us.
Well, there's a lot of, the organization, I mean, obviously have to run. They have to pay people. People have to run the organization, and these types of people, they get paid to do those things. I think that, like, I know one thing that is a big problem with a lot of these orgs. They'll get professional management companies, and I've seen this over the years. They get the professional management companies in there. They'll run them for a little bit, and then the management companies seem to do really well with them. And then something happens along the way. The guard changes, and then obviously the people want to change the flow of what, like you said, it gets too many people, I guess, too many chiefs and not enough Indians. and everybody thinks that they can do something better with it, and they can, and I get that, because when you get a bunch of, people that are entrepreneurs in there, we all got thick heads. We all got our own ideas. We got our, we want to do it our way or the
Yep.
highway type of mentality, and that's probably why a lot of them really wind up failing. I mean, and to be honest, I'm just going to put this out there. I don't think one organization in our industry, and now this is going to piss some people off, has actually succeeded uh, in the situation of massive success. Now, you and I were talking a little earlier about the IWCA. I think probably for touching education on the consumer, the customer, in the commercial building and owner's world, they probably have done more for their industry than probably any other
Yeah,
organization.
I'd have to agree with you. I remember when the IWCA years ago, before I was a business owner, I was just an employee, and they were actually like the high rise cleaning industry. They were pretty much writing the regulations for it.
Yeah.
We didn't go by OSHA standards. We went by IWCA standards.
I think they still pretty much are trying to I mean, I think they're still making an awareness on it. I mean, and I think they're still doing probably the best job of.
And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what, since we're talking about the IWCA, like me and you were talking earlier, Ron, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the next couple of years, because they've done a changing of the guard, brought in a younger board and stuff like that, and some new people. And I'm kind of interested to see what the IWCA does. I root for them, because I remember them back in the '90s talking. I wasn't a member.
They're having a show in January in Las Vegas.
I think I was going to say Las Vegas.
I hope it winds up going off, because like a lot of these shows with this,
it's hard right now.
Yeah, it is a little bit tough. That's for damn sure.
And that's we were talking about the differences in opinions, and I want to take a second and say this, if you don't mind. That's like just about everybody watching or going to watch this video knows the deal with the PWMCA and me. A lot of people think that I have hatred for the PWMCA. What they don't realize is I still have a lot of friends that are members of that. I want to see it doing good. I've decided, well, me and Jamie decided, let's put it that way, that I was not going to be a part of it. But I'm still going to go to their events. I'm still hoping they take it to the level where Jamie wanted to go originally. Is he going to do it? Time will tell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he's got an opportunity. Let's just face it, he's got an opportunity this February. I think that what he does in Myrtle Beach will. I don't think it'll be a make or break, but I think
Myrtle Beach is going to be the make or break for the PWCA.
I think it'll be a telltale to where the direction that they're going. I don't think it's going to be a make or break.
I'll be honest with you, I know I'll be at the Myrtle Beach show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's in my backyard. Of course I'm going to be there,
Yeah.
And I hope it is a great show, I mean, like I said, I think he's had his time. They've had the time to build, and now he's got to put up. And I think, if he does it right, I think it's going to be a great organization in the future. And that's Joe saying that.
I just want to send a message to these guys. When you join an organization, I think that, people will go, well, why should I join an organization? You should join an organization simply to be in something with, guys that are networking and building relationships and friendships of people that are in your industry, especially if you're a new guy. I mean, if you're a new guy, you definitely should do that, because getting involved, getting out there on the road, going to the actual meetings and networking is a huge thing. And
there are so many people I've met through this industry that I talk to daily through organizations that I've been involved in and attending their events.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you make lifelong friends. And I tell people one of the reasons to join an org is, at the end of the day, if I have a problem with my employees, I have a problem with a job goes wrong, I can't go talk to my next door neighbor about that, because he has no idea what I'm talking about. But being part of an org or a club or an association is nice to be able to turn around and pick up that phone and call Bubba down the road and say, hey, Bubba, man, I had this going on. He's like, yeah, man, I had that happen 3 months ago in my business. And you can talk to somebody that understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, the camaraderie of it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Now, guys, understand this, that organizations, the professional cleaning organizations most of them have been around now for, most of the nonprofits that we're talking about have been around, some of them 20 some years, some of them 10 years, all of them have been around 10 or 12 years or more.
Right.
Okay. Those orgs really haven't changed. There's been no creation of a nonprofit organization in the last, 15 years.
Yeah.
So those orgs have been around forever. Now, when we start talking about the clubs and all the things that you got, you mentioned the PWM.
That's a whole other subject.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think when you start including, what do we do? Do we include every coaching organization that's out there? I mean,
when you say clubs, I include coaching organizations, I include Facebook groups, I include all that in the club situation.
Oh, there's hundreds there. There's hundreds.
And they come and go literally like you change your drawers every day. You see a new one pop up, somebody's got a great idea for it. But it boils down to the camaraderie of it. And do you agree and get along with people that are involved in that club?
Do you think that the failure of the national associations have created some of this? I mean, I hear that a bit. I mean,
I would say yes.
I
I
think it
mean,
was going to happen. I think it was going to happen with technology, right? I mean, isn't it?
I think technology's been more than anything is the creator of it because it's so easy now. Look at it 20 years ago. You couldn't go out and start a association with a bunch of different pressure washers because you couldn't find them. Was harder. Nowadays, you go online, start a Facebook group. As long as you keep some relevant content in there, within a month, you can have 1,000 people. Now you got 1,000 people audience. Then you can turn it into this. Then you can turn it into that. Then you can start charging for it. And you know, it it can be a good situation and it can be a bad. I've seen where it's helped our industry and where it hurts our industry at the same time.
This John's got a great question here. We do not need to be enemies. We also have to be friends, but we should respect each other. You know, this is a really big thing here, Joe, because these people here would never imagine you and I probably agreeing on this subject.
Well, and I'm going to say something else because John said that. That's just like me and John. And John, I hope you don't mind me going here. He makes a good point. I've had words with John. I mean, we've had some strong words with each other. Now, if I seen him at an event tomorrow, would I go up and cuss him out? No. I'd buy him a drink or he'd buy me one and we'd sit there and have a conversation. I still wouldn't like him at the end of the day, and he's probably not going to like me. But we would respect the industry. And that's where people got to understand. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like this person, but respect your industry.
Yeah, there are so many people out there, Joe, that for whatever the reasons are, you call them the haters or whatever it is, why they do what they do and want to call them divisiveness and the division. Here's my take on this, and some are watching. A lot of people go, it's jealousy. I don't really believe the jealousy thing so much. I believe that there's a group of guys out there that are in our industry, and it's a big group of guys. I believe that they are just scared of their competition. And they really believe that a Ron Musgraves is breeding these competitors for them. And what they don't understand is Ron Musgraves is breeding competition, not hats. And if the industry is stronger as a whole, we all do better. And I've actually seen a decline in what I'm talking about because because of organizations failing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there now is as good of a standard out there where guys are out there learning fundamentals and really understanding what they really need to do in the way of keeping the safety, the environmental, and knowing that their value is a lot more than what it is. I think the value thing of what a new person coming into this industry, I don't think they understand what
Well, I
veterans
think something
and
else that goes along with the orgs and the associations that I think you were talking about new people coming into the industry. A lot of times these new guys see people that are popular in these groups or clubs or associations. And they say, well, you know what? That guy must know what he's doing because everybody likes him. Hey, he's popular. You know what I'm saying? And the honest truth of it, you really got to be careful on who you follow because not everybody just is popular knows what the hell they're doing. That's
no,
the honest truth. And there's guys out there that are claiming to run 10 truck operations that are running 1 or 2 truck operations.
no,
Nothing wrong with that.
there's a video out there of a guy, and I always say this, you know, people get on new guys for being know-it-alls. If a new guy's talking about a subject he's got experience in, or something that's technology that's brand new,
Yep.
and he knows it, and he's done his homework. There's a thing called a prodigy, and there's sometimes guys that, it's a prodigy for them in that particular craft, and they can actually give knowledgeable information. But there's a guy in our industry that has been out there. It's 25 years he's been making videos. Okay. And my lead guy 25, 30 years ago found the set of videos online. We bought them, and it was really a series of videos to go, hey, we're going to sit our guys down and watch these and tell them not to do this. You know what I mean? Because that's how bad the videos were.
Yep.
And he's got a video out there, Joe. And this just goes to show you that you and I would both know that you wouldn't know what you're doing if you told somebody to do this. He tells them to tightly grip the hose while you're reeling it up. That's exactly what we would never tell any one of our employees to do, because they're going to wind up with a shard of glass in the hose or a wire sticking out of the hose, and they're going to wind up ripping their hand wide open.
Oh, there's so much false information out there. It blows my mind, and a lot of it comes from these orgs and clubs, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to say this on that, you know, on the false information and things. It's just like I had somebody the other day, I done a video, and somebody turned around and took and put on there, I don't remember the guy's name. Oh, I think these are a joke. I don't think you know what you're doing. And guys, that's what you got to understand. Just because you're involved with an org, an association, a club, you are free to listen to whoever you want to listen to. Listen to the people that hit home with you, that put out content that you understand in a way you understand. It's okay to be part of Club A and be friends with Club B, or be part of Club A and get relevant information out of Club C. You don't always have to, you know what I'm saying? Just because you're part of Club A, stop with this, I'm in my sandbox, you can't play in me. You know what I'm saying? Stop that stuff. Be part of whatever sandbox you want to be that day. Talk to the people that are going to give you the most information, the most help. You're just going to get the most value out of at any single day.
No, and that's what it all boils down to. You know, Joe, we can sit here and wish, or, you know, think that that's not going to happen.
No, but it's always going to happen.
In reality, though, whether it's jealousy, pure hate, or just fear, and I still believe most of it is fear. I think people can play upon other people's fear for, oh my gosh, they're breeding contractors and they're hurting our industry, when they don't realize that if we had a real strong industry organization, we would all be better.
Oh, I wish we could get a strong industry organization, but it's going to take strong people to do it, and it's going to take people do not, like I said, I'll say it again. Running an industry association or club, whatever you want to call it, is a lot of work. And I just haven't seen the one step up yet that is really, I've seen some decent one step up with some benefit. I just haven't seen in the industry what I would like to see as of yet. I'm open eventually.
I call the benefits hokey. I mean, and I did, even with the UMCC, I called the benefits hokey. I said hokey benefits. I mean, I really did.
And the honest truth, I'm going to talk about benefits for just a second, and I'm going to piss some people off in the orgs, maybe some vendors. I hope I don't, but I see orgs and associations talking about, well, if you join us, you get a discount from this vendor, that vendor, that vendor. Let me give you a little hint, guys. If you're not a member of an org and you call these vendors, I guarantee if you ask for a discount, they're willing to give you the same discount pretty much that they're going to give they want your business. So to me, that's a loss leader on any org or association. I hate to say that, but that's just me.
And that's why I said hokey benefits, because like a lot of times, and this is going to irritate some of the guys that actually tried to do this, they would go, well, Ron, we're going to give it a 2-for-1 deal. Well, how much is the ball valve? Well, normally it's $19.95, but we're going to give it a 2-for-1 for $39.95. I'm like, okay, that's not 2-for-1. You know, it's like, and I mean, and I'm just using that as an example.
Exactly.
It's just that's how stupid this was sometimes. Or you know, we'll give you $200 off if you spend $20,000. You know, you're like, okay, you know,
I bet you will give me $200 off if I spend $20,000.
Right. So, you know, we're not going to give the gift card unless they spend $20,000. Yeah. And I'm obviously being extreme on this stuff, but like it was stuff like that. It's like, you know, that's not going to work, you know. And then I remember the one guy it was on roof pumps, and I was thinking to myself, first of all, there's not many companies out here that are startups that are going to be buying 2 roof pumps. You know, most of these guys don't even know they need a backup, and these weren't cheap roof pumps; these were gas powered. So no one's going to spend $3,000 on, you know, they're going to buy 2 of them for $6,000. You know, and you're going to give them a 10% discount. I'm like, it's never going to happen. You know, I mean, it's like you said, they can go to the other guy down the road and go, well, they'll probably get 20% off of one root pump for that
Yep.
price, And yeah, you're right. The discounting thing, unless an organization has thousands of members and real serious buying power, that's
every org across the industry is pretty much getting the same discounts, same setup from every vendor. I know this 100% because I've been involved in it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So, in a cap on this thing, okay, here we go. We're going to cap this off because we're
Sounds
at 40
good.
minutes. When you join an org, expect you're going to get a logo rental. You're going to be able to belong to maybe a certification program if you care about the certification program, and you're going to get a directory listing. I think that if you look beyond an organization, beyond and networking, obviously, if you look between those four things, the networking, the logo rental, the certification, and that, I think that you're going to be not happy. If you're expecting anything more than that, you're not going to be happy for the money that you pay the organization, because I really don't believe that any of these organizations out there, any of them, really have more than that. Now, they all have additional training that you can purchase, and we all know that training 9 times out of 10 is by a contractor. Here we go again, that provides private instruction. And we can go to those clubs and get private instruction too. If you're a new guy, and I highly recommend that if you're a new guy, find either somebody to get a contractor that can mentor you and give you private hands-on instruction, or go to a damn trade school for cleaning and get some real hands-on knowledge. And there's nothing. And everybody goes, Ron, you're so bent on paid education. I'm not bent on paid education, but I'm not going to downplay free education, because I think they both, one can be more valuable than the other one. And the
education is power.
Education
is power. I don't care where you get it from. And, like you were saying with the orgs and associations, finishing it up, guys, join the org that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like you're getting a value out of. Because at the end of the day, let me give you a little hint. I'm not paying your bills. Ron's not going to come pay your bills. And these orgs and associations are not going to pay your bills. It's still on you. So if you feel like you can give them this couple $100 and get value out of it back, then by all means, jump on board and ride that wagon. If you feel like it's costing you money and you're not getting the value, then get out.
Yeah, that's really the truth. But you gotta, like you said at the very beginning, man, what you put into an organization is what you're going to get out of it. And if you got a certification and you don't use it, well, then that's your bad. You know what I mean? Because guys go, well, customers never ask me for my certification.
They shouldn't be asking. You should be showing it to them.
Correct. And they're not going to ask your competitor for it. They're going to know your competitor doesn't have it, because he would have said he has it. So they're not going to ask him, because that puts them in an awkward position, right? I mean, if they, hey, Joe, do you have the certification? No, miss, and then they don't understand that, like, they get into that, well, I've been doing it for 25 years. I could have wrote the certification. Well, you could have wrote it, then why didn't you?
I used my certifications when I had them as a selling tactic. The honest truth, and I'm going to say this, I don't care who gets mad about it. Certifications ain't worth the paper they're wrote on other than to hang on your wall. But if you use it as a selling tactic, it can be the difference in you selling a job compared to John Blow down the street for the same price.
And I think that, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and show this. Here's the reality of it. When you can actually, and this is the thing, when contractors argue, and you get into the debate of the process with it, and we've all had it happen, right? A contractor will, say, hey, pressure washing is no good. And you know that using a pressure washer, soft washing a house is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. But you get the soft wash guy out there that deems the pressure washing guy as the devil, okay? Who does the customer believe? Are they going to believe the individual contractor, or are they going to believe the material from the National Association? Which one? And that, in a sense, if you can use this, and I use the MCC, they all have this. And all of them have this. It's just that you have to be able to have the ammunition in order to utilize it. And if you, here we go again, if you use it, it works. If you don't use it, it's not going to help you.
It's a piece of junk. It's a piece of paper.
You're paying $100 and some a year for nothing.
Pretty much anything, you know. I mean, it's just like any other piece of equipment you invest in your business. If you use it, you can get value out of it. If you don't use it, you just wasted your money.
And then John here, this last one here. I guess this event, give Jamie a little plug in Myrtle Beach. I think 13th, 14th, and 15th. Is that what it is? This is a free event, guys, in Myrtle Beach in February. So if you guys are out there, go to the PWMCA and what they got. I think they're going to have AC Locklear doing.
I can't honestly tell you on that. You know more about that than I do.
Yeah, I think they got AC doing a thing, and I think they got Hindeleiter. He's going to be doing some stuff. I guess John's not affiliated with them anymore, though, right, John?
I think John is affiliated. I think he's a board member or something.
Is he a board member? Okay.
I think. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not going to get involved. I don't even want to get involved in all that on who's on the board because I have no idea anymore.
Look at I'm org for life. That's big.
John, I can't invite you to something I'm not a member of, buddy.
but no, I mean, and I got an event coming up next month on the 13th and 14th of
that's the F9 event,
November, right here in Phoenix, the F9 event, and then February on the 9th, 10th, and 11th, which is right before the Myrtle Beach event. We got Houston with Washmart, going on, and these are all free. These are all free events too, and that's why I can't sit there and go. People are like, well, if you don't pay for it, you don't have any value. I am positive that the F9 event, I've been to a lot of restorations, and Craig Harrison is, as far as, we're not talking about the chemicals, we're talking about just his education and the way he teaches and shows people how to move non-organic matter. I've never seen anything better. I've not seen anything better. And it's
Craig Harrison is a great guy. I love watching his stuff. I love talking to him. I've had a chance to sit down and actually talk to him a few times over the years. He's just a great guy to deal with.
And there's your answer.
Yep, he is a board director. I thought he was, but I wasn't sure. But what do you say we finish this thing up, Ron? Because I got to get out and get some stuff taken care of this afternoon.
I do too, man. I appreciate you. Hey, Joe, appreciate you coming on, man. I'm gonna say a few more things. If you want to say adios,
I'm out here, guys. Y'all have a good one. And like I said, just do what works for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe, for coming out. Hey, guys, I just want to let you guys know one last thing. On, you guys, the 13th and 14th will be right here in Phoenix, Arizona, my backyard here on November 13th and 14th. Had a Joe Biden moment again there. And we'll be doing a free seminar with F9. Guys, go to F9 Restorations, get signed up. There was 107 people registered and signed up for this thing. It's going to be a pretty big regional event. Normally, these events are only like 60 to 50, 60 people. This one here is already doubled up. It's probably going to wind up capping off about 140, 150 people. Don't forget about the garage cleaning event John Tornabeni's doing. Go to Clean County Garage Cleaning. Google that, and you'll find that link there. That is a paid extra class that John Tornabeni, the garage cleaning guru, is doing a class here in Phoenix, and there is an additional cost for that, guys. But check it out. It's going to be a great event. We appreciate you guys listening on Sunday. Me and Joe Knows we'll be back next Sunday. We'll have a great topic. We're gonna talk about a topic that's next week that's pretty darn good. You guys are gonna like it. Ron Musgraves, Pressure Washing Institute.